right here against Epsilon. Who do you want to kick it off with?
I think we got to kick it off with Jimbo. He's impressed all of us throughout the entire weekend here. He's got that beautiful new Magnum skin in hand. He's going up here on Rocket side.
One thing I really liked about that initial grenade he laid down was he wasn't going for a kill by throwing that grenade towards Scatter Shot. Instead, he was throwing that grenade down to see if anyone's flanking. If he saw a hit marker, he'd realize, guys, there's going to be someone near Scatter Shot. Watch the flank.
That's right. Now let's go over to Buck20, who's now spawning in the back of his base. Wants to find out exactly where those rockets might have landed. He does have help here from his twin duel, from Buck57, who will fall. So they'll have to reset for just a moment, but you got to love those shots across the map.
Yeah, that was actually very interesting about Jimbo, and oh my gosh, Buck20 trying to pull off a nice ground pound. But the part I was going to say was it was interesting that Jimbo actually brought rockets back towards his own base. A lot of times, the way I look at power-ups is if it's a sniper, bring it back towards your side. If it's rockets, get it away from your base. You don't want them to use that against you for a capture.
And they can come even faster at that point. So that might be what they're doing here as team. I like Heinz positioning there on the BR, right? Always a good place to be. I kind of liken it to almost like a front base on Onslaught, right? You can kind of shoot both streets from that front base position.
Yeah, it's just kind of this back and forth. So where Heinz was at that top sniper bridge, and you just have so many options. You can cut off any angles from rocket side. You can look over towards Fountain, like when we saw Heinz there on that BR, and eventually you can push up forward to either bridge or towards cave to set up for a capture.
And we just saw APG actually died. You see that red X on your screen. He did have rockets, so that means Liquid's going to have to slow down once again. Almost might have been a guaranteed advantage if they had pushed him with those rockets, but they will fall, but they're still going to try to push this here as they grab 2 more.
Yes, and Heinz doing everything he needs to, just staying alive. And it's interesting. I like how he's escorting, but most importantly, look at Heinz just staying alive, buying time. And you got to wonder,
yes.
I'm not
go
sure
ahead
if he should have done damage or if he should have went for the stick. I guess I could go either way on that decision. On one hand, Heinz was the furthest one up, and I don't know if that damage could translate towards a kill. But in the end, Liquid getting the first cap, and Epsilon needs to step it up here soon if they want to have a chance of getting outpool.
That's right. Heinz, I think, probably didn't want to go for that kind of like cocky SMG play, but it looked like for a second he might have been able to get away with it as he was under pressure. But we'll go back over to the Liquid side now, going over to Unlegit.
Yeah, we're going to see what Unlegit sort of role is on this Liquid squad, because we saw Heinz before kind of sitting over towards that top sniper bridge, just doing damage, laying down shots. And you can kind of see the differences in these playstyles, where you saw Unlegit down low, getting ready to flank, being a nuisance in front of the Epsilon base.
I like this play. Look at Buck57, checks the outside ledge. Oh, has to use both rockets, but not the matter, of course. More important to stay alive here and check these respawns. So here comes Epsilon trying to make something happen, but he doesn't have much help here.
Luckily he had the Buck20 help because he missed those 2 rockets, so that worked out very well for 57 right there. But look at these bait switches. Jimbo unfortunately taken down, Snipe Ground taken down, and Buck57 taken down. And Liquid's on the offensive.
That's right. Ace is actually going to pick up a double kill there and pushing up with APG on your screen. They now have control of this green side, which is sniper spawn.
This is a different Liquid so far. I mean, they are pushing together. They got all those kills on the front side of the base, and they all pushed in very crucial locations. And Ace ripping up the first base that he sees off of Buck57.
And you have to wonder, when we talk about these two teams, does it come down to playstyle? We saw Epsilon dominating the team that dominated Liquid earlier, but Liquid now coming out to fight. So it all matters how they set up, how they move, how do they communicate together. Those are all going to be factors here.
One thing I'm definitely noticing is when Liquid sets up for a flag cap, they always go for that cave side first. You see how Ace, and I believe it was Heinz, blocking the spawn side. He hits the no-scope, gets the melee for the double kill. I think we'll give out some rec points for that. Or not exactly rec points, but a rec pack for that.
I have to say, look, finally, somehow gets away. Look how important back-to-back Ace stays alive in these situations. Spoke a little bit too soon, but able to stay alive for a long time there. Now over to his teammate, Heinz.
And Heinz is just sort of patrolling the enemy base. I like his patience, at least, before grabbing the flag, because he's looking to see if he can get a kill first.
Yep.
One thing that you'll notice that happens with most, you would almost argue, like, sneaky objective players, someone like a Ryan Noob or a Heinz, is that when they get a flank on an opposing team, they don't just instantly pull the flag and just run it as fast as they can. Instead, what they're going towards is they want to see if they can find a kill, and then they run the flag the fastest route possible.
That's right. Now going to go ahead and go over to Ace as that flag hasn't been grabbed yet, and it looks like that flag's been spotted, but no, APG will bring it in. So Team Liquid goes up 2-0 here in Game 1 Coliseum CTF.
And you know that Liquid's feeling good about this, but you know who else is really feeling good about this? Team Renegades, because they realize that was odd. You know, I figured that angle was going to destroy him with that one-shot rocket, but must have just got a little bit of the explosion damage. Or
you know that too well in Halo 1. Those Halo 1 rockets, if you don't hit that ledge at the perfect angle, you're not doing any damage, so he has to hit that shot. But Ace redeems himself. We do have a listen-in ready with Team Liquid, so let's go ahead and jump on board with them. Now going to Heinz.
You almost got it.
Bottom mid, kill me. Scatter shot. Bottom mid, scatter shot. Go front of our base with scatter shot. Front of our base, our fountain. Scatter.
Front of base, one shot. Got me.
I need him, one shot.
One shot, found.
He's on one shot, he's on one shot.
I found.
Two shots, give him.
Last guy.
Shove.
I
Our found again.
Our window, I think, kill me. I think our window kill me. Yeah, good nade, good nade.
Window,
We need to get a flank. Watch out our window, watch out our window, Aaron.
Okay, 2 shots sniping, Jimbo.
Good job, Aaron.
Can we push this guy?
That's 2 dead. It's 2 dead and 1 spawn.
Yeah, Jimbo, it's sniper top guy. He's probably back
I'm gonna go top
up.
right.
He's bottom snipe.
Snipe.
Top 2 top snipe.
Front their base, buck 20.
I
Front
think our
their base,
maze.
buck 20. Front their base, buck 20.
Our maze is sniping still.
Our window, I think.
They're sneaky.
So we'll see Ace fall off the map there, but some good composure there. I think the biggest thing to take away, Dave, there was their composure in the base when they were trying to stop that flag run, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because we talked plenty of times before about how all these teams have different strategies as far as how aggressive they are, how passive they are. But you also notice the differences in communications. Like you said, when you listen in with a team like Allegiance and you hear Naden screaming out,
right,
it is a complete difference compared to this calm and collected Team Liquid squad.
Right, and sometimes that can work for a team, right? And other times a team is really going to be fueled by that passion and that really excited vibe in the booth. But as you see, Team Liquid playing pretty composed here. But let's go ahead and spend some time with Buck 57.
And while we were talking about that, did you realize that Epsilon brought in a flag? Because that completely escaped me.
Me as well.
I'll admit it when I'm wrong as a caster. I did not see Epsilon bringing that flag because now they are only 1 cap away from tying this game against Liquid.
And now looks getting serious pressure there from Fountain, so Buck 57 is going to try to stay alive, almost able to do so, but we'll go over to his teammate, Snipe Drone.
Yeah, Snipe Drone always being in those sneaky locations. You know how I said, return to the battlefield in 10 seconds, Snipe Drone. You're not supposed to be there.
Right, I love that ledge there on that red base on the Rocket side. You can really do a lot with that, getting up there, especially when you want to time a ground pound. But Snipe Drone with Snipe in hand, and this could look good for Epsilon.
And he's immediately looking for the spawn kills. Unfortunately, misses the first shot. The second one, if Bulls could go through the walls, would have connected with Ace's face, but did not work out.
Like, yeah, they need to slow down, right? Because their flag carrier died. They need to get these kills as the players coming across the map. But looking at this, actually, Buck 20 might be bringing this straight in, and I think he's going to be able to do that. Pressure is way too late from Liquid.
Did you see how Snipe Drone killed the most crucial player right there?
Yep.
There was a member of Team Liquid who was over by the Splinter Grenade who had a chance of stopping the flag at the fountain. Right. However, what Snipe Drone did is he ignored 2 different players that were going to kill him near the fountain side. So instead, he just goes, I'm going to kill this person, and I know my teammates will take advantage of that limited time that I bought them.
Right, you only have 5 seconds to make a choice, and you need to make sure you're killing the most dangerous player, right? Whoever is in position to block you from scoring. And Epsilon will tie it now 2-2, so anyone's game. Liquid had a really strong start, but it looks like they have been pushed back, and we are all tied up. Next flag will win.
Yes, when someone buys time like that, the only thing I can relate it to is like in a zombie movie. Actually, we got a flag run here. I'll bring up my ridiculous analogy later. And every single time we see Liquid pull a flag, where are they located? Over in the cave side, blocking those spawns and running at fountain. So this just seems to be the Liquid strategy, and I'm not sure if it's the perfect strat, but the whole point is they execute together. And looks like APG taken down. I'm not sure about that flag out there. Don't you think he should have ran down?
I don't know either, especially with Snipe Drone here on the BR. He has rockets in his back pocket too. Might be able to get this return. And looks like another player will fall. That was at least 2 dead. I think they're going to be good. I don't want to speak too soon. No, a big touch there, but they look like they're in an okay position.
Seems like they're desperate a bit too much. That has 3 members down. Liquid and Snipe Drone almost killed himself. This is a crazy flag recovery. I like the fact that they both jump on there because like, all right, this is getting a little too close. Just get this flag back, get back to neutral, and try to win this.
That's right. Sniper was in the hands of Buck 20, but it does fall. We'll stay on board with Snipe Drone through the respawn here as both teams try to feel each other out. We're in a little bit of a stalemate. For a second, it looked like Liquid was going to be able to get that cap, but Dave, you were talking about that BR route that you weren't so sure about.
Oh, yeah, the BR route. The whole point being is it seemed like APG was very safe just to run straight down that snipe ramp. The whole point being is you want to just get the flag on your half of the map. When you have flag on your half of the map, it just makes sense that your teammates are going to spawn closer to it and you're going to get reinforcements faster. Right. So what that means is when you go even in slaves with our team, you're actually going to progress and eventually get that cap, in theory.
Right, I'm going to go over to Hines now because he does have the sniper rifle set up. And look at Team Liquid's composition. They are on the cave side. They are locking down those green spawns and starting to move the flag back. Now they just need to move as a team.
Yep, they're doing their exact strat they've done every single time. And it looks like this time, Unlegit is actually running it straight down that snipe ramp where APG decided not to the previous route. We're going to see if this can translate into a cap.
That's a pull right there, so they're not able to cap just yet. We'll go over to Unlegit, who's trying desperately to win in his base, but he will fall. Only 2 alive now for Liquid as Hines and Ace are trying to make something happen back at the base.
And I like this play play by Hines. He's going to try to get the stop. However, looks like Jimbo, actually Buck 20 ended up getting that recovery back to even ground. Not quite so, because looks like 57 was starting to move that flag again.
I have to say, big return there. I cannot believe it. Once again, we saw Team Liquid with a pretty perfect composition, but they're not able to convert. That's a good play there from Hines, but that spot in the back of green is awfully annoying.
Look how often Liquid and especially Hines have been over on those snipe bridges. Just such a dominant position. I would argue that is the most powerful position on the entire map of Coliseum.
Yes, indeed. Now, it looks like I like what APG's doing here. He's trying to flank around. He does have help from Ace as well. There might be a pull here.
We are running the flag right down the bridge this time. Let's see if APG actually takes a safer route, because last time we saw him try to go down towards splinter grenades, and right now it just seems like he's getting over there without a hassle.
Way too easy.
I can't see him being
Hines
stopped.
is not even under pressure, so I think he's going to run
I
this
just
right
saw
in.
all 4 dead. And actually, if you looked at the kill feed, you pay a little attention, you saw a rocket kill from Unlegit onto Ace. So he knew that game was over. He says, guess what, Ace?
Boom.
Your stats are going to be a little worse this game.
So Team Liquid answers back despite many losses so far in this tournament. They are able to rally back. Ace and crew will take game number 1, capture the flag on Coliseum. We'll go ahead and take a look at the quick stats as I take a look. 29 kills from Ace, 21 from Unlegit, 22 from APG, and Hines with 15 there. To give you the rest of the numbers, APG 22, 15, and 14, Ace 29, 17, and 15, Unlegit 21, 15, and 17, and Hines 15, 13, and 16. There. So that was, apologies, just the Team Liquid stats on the other side. Epsilon looks like they had some decent numbers.
However, just look at those KDAs that we saw on screen. We saw like Ace and Unlegit like 19.6, 15.3. What was the game score? 3-2?
Right.
That just goes to show the objective efficiency of Epsilon when they are playing well. They just got that heavily outslayed that they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and it felt like what we saw from Liquid was that they kind of did the normal, get the setup, run the flag, even if it doesn't work, reset, get the same setup, right? They
ran the same flag the same way every single time.
Yeah, and with the exception, I think, of the Bridge BR run, right?
Yep.
The last one, they made sure they were listening to you. Just kidding, they're in soundproof booths. But they heard you in spirit and made sure to actually run the flag down the snipe ramp, take your time, and bring that flag in.
Maybe some credit to their current coach right now, Audley, who I know is the Team Liquid analyst. He's a very, very smart Halo strategist, and he does some great YouTube content, so definitely check out Audley and see what he puts out there.
Yeah, his knowledge of the spawn system far surpasses mine, so I wait until he posts on the forums to read about how the spawns work. So credit to Team Liquid. They'll take game number 1. Game number 2, Dave, is going to be Slayer on Truth. Now, we've said it with a lot of different teams here. This really could go any way. If Epsilon wants to answer back in the series, obviously this is their chance. Team Liquid, of course, wants to just take that momentum straight into game number 2. If you're Team Liquid, you got to be a little bit worried about the raw slaying ability of Epsilon, as well as we saw them play on Truth earlier, and they really had. I mean, they understand top mid, they understand cycling and rotating. They look pretty good on it. Yeah,
I mean, this Liquid squad, you can't say that they haven't put their heart into the matches. It just has been more of like an execution and just almost like, I guess, clicking. It just doesn't seem like this Liquid squad has fully clicked yet.
Right.
Luckily, they have some more time before any regionals and before the Halo World Championship, assuming they make it there. But the whole point being is they aren't giving up. They realize, guess what? Even if we aren't getting out pool play, we're taking Epsilon down with us.
That's right. That's exactly what they're going for. We're going to have game number 2, which is going to be Slayer in just a moment. But before that, we'll go to a quick break. We'll be right back with game number 2.
seconds to sniper rifle.
All right, and welcome back to the Halo World Championship Tour X Games Aspen Invitational. We'll come to you live from Aspen, Colorado, right in the middle of all the X Games action. We've even got an X in our tent. This is legit, Walsh. We're happy to be here. All the players are happy to be here, talking to some of the guys on the teams. I mean, this is one of the coolest events they've been to, I think, as casters. I think even our whole career, this is probably one of the coolest spots to be seeing competitive Halo.
It's incredible. Literally, you walk out the front of our tent, and you see the X Games half pipe. You see snowmobiles flying hundreds of feet in the air. Maybe not hundreds, but 10
pretty
feet
darn
in the
high.
air.
But, yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. I think for rehearsal on Thursday, we snowboarded off the mountain and pretty much into this tent to get ready for this show. We hope you're enjoying it, whether you're joining us on twitch.tv/Halo, MLG.tv, the Halo channel, ESPN3, WatchESPN.com, wherever you're joining from digitally and wherever you might be joining from around the world. We thank you so much for tuning in here. This is the X Games Aspen Invitational. We're seeing some of the best teams from North America and Europe duke it out. And right now, Dave, we have Game 2 between Team Liquid and Epsilon. Team Liquid leads the series here, and we're going to go ahead and kick things off with APG.
So Team Slayer is one of those game types that I always had said, getting Carbine, getting Pink, and one of the bases is a superior strategy. However, I was talking to Liquid's analyst at the beginning of this game, and he says their strategy, which has been kind of adapted from other squads, is getting 2 of the bases and getting them spawning at Carbine side.
And just now we saw Buck57 did get the first camo, however, was immediately burned by Liquid. So that's going to give Team Liquid, excuse me, not burned, but eliminated by Liquid. So that's going to give them a little bit of an advantage here. They also have control of Pink 2.
He is so accurate with that storm rifle, leading the shots just perfectly when he's at distance and just, I would say, hitting nearly every bullet with that storm rifle.
Right. Of course, also making sure you don't overheat with that storm rifle, right? Perfectly timing that, tapping the trigger if you need to. They're up to an early lead here, 7-3. He'll pick up another assist. We'll see if he can get these shots on Snipe Drone, but they're too strong. Let's go over to Snipe Drone on Epsilon.
Perfect shots from Snipe Drone, taking down APG, arguably one of the best shots in the game. These European players are no joke.
I love that play from Unlegit, right? Because if he hadn't thrusted back, he would have gotten hit by that splinter grenade, but instead, he's very cautious. I love the way that some of these players use thrust to kind of head check. Oh my gosh, for a second, I thought we were going to have Unlegit turn on Snipe Drone with that storm rifle, but looks like Epsilon getting a few kills on the board now, 6-10.
Unlegit makes himself such a difficult kill, and the ground pound almost was converted into kill, but he was going against the world champion Ace.
That's right, so Ace now with that SMG in hand, very, very deadly close-range weapon. If you've been watching all weekend, you've certainly seen that. They have doubled their opponent's score right now, 12-6 here on Game 2 Truth Slayer.
Yeah, now this is very surprising because I'm still trying to see how the strategy develops. Like, as Audley said before this game, you see some of his members over at Blue Base, you see a member over at Pink, and you saw Unlegit over, or actually Ace is the one over at Red Base. The whole point being is that they are trying to force this Epsilon squad to spawn over at Carbine.
That's right. So Sides thinks about getting the BR for a second, but keeps going with the Carbine here. Wants to lay down those shots across the map. Sees the player here, so he's going to try to collapse on that car side of the map.
Yeah, so I guess the key to the strategy is that you feel like, or at least Audley was saying, that these players have to push out in these choke points where you see Buck57 getting picked off at. So the whole point is they get spawned in bubble. They don't really have a good escape route. They can't push against top middle very effectively. They have to go against these like kind of choke bend points at Blue Base and Red Base. And look at this, just crossfire as they're trying to escape from Carbine.
Now, I'll never tire of seeing that. There's players, I mean, who play this 2-base kind of midship spiritual successor so well. I remember seeing players like Karma on Carbon, right, back in Halo 2, sit across the base and just do exactly this, right? You're just laying shots down with the BR. They're up 20-13.
Yes, and just doing an incredible job. Oh my gosh, I can't see which member of Epsilon it was to one shot, but that was cleaned up. It was Snipe Drone, and his teammate
Look
Ace
at this. This is some of the best support play, textbook Truth TS support play that we're seeing here. You just sit in the base window, you lay down BR fire, you're incessant with it, and finally they have to send a sword to kill you.
Yep. Sword to the face to finally take Unlegit down, but the damage has been done. He had a, 6-kill spree in that situation?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump now into a listening with Epsilon. They're down by about 5 here. They need to rally back to get back in this game and this series.
Watch out. Blue, show me. Blue, show me. Two guys there, two ready there. Two there, Mike. I see Mike's there. PT behind us, PT.
Ready.
Come in.
Two ready there. P2 right now, P2.
Inside bomb mid. Get on blue T, guys. I'm getting on blue T. Blue T. I'm going to kill blue T. Blue T, go try to
one shot.
Come on, Jim, sir. Oh, shit. Mike, when you're in.
Blue T, one shot, APG. I need help here.
Mike, I'm coming. I'm with Jim.
I need help here.
I'm going to be on. Blue T. Jim. We have camo around 45. They got burned. He's one's PT. Another guy, give me a street. Gonna be PT, push me. I'm looking PT. I can post nade. PT now, hand. Two shot hands. And I need BRM. Two shot.
I'm coming to car.
Hands to two shot. Hands go outside pink wall. I need BR. TP2. I'm going TP2 at least. Get shot, got shot from P2. Two guys, P2, one shot. Camera, they have camera, 45.
P1 is bottom middle. Can't see him.
Still down there. P2 still hands.
Still P1.
TP2 need help. P2 hands, one shot. No, camera's somewhere. Camera's gonna push us. Camera's in front of me. Come in front of me. Too much street, fuck. Yeah, three guys on the street. Three on the street. Mike's got one. Pink street. Mike. He's on the Elo, one shot. He's sitting there. Pushing the blue and get pink. Red flag camera. Guys, back out.
P2 as well, P2.
We got it. Back out, he's back out. Alex, back out. On the street now, legit. Weak on the street, legit. Just in the street, still on the street.
So, Walshy, when we started that listening, Epsilon was only down by 5 kills. Now they're down by significantly more. Tell me what you thought during that listening, and they were not able to really get control.
It just seems like they are focused more on where weak players are rather than their game plan.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed when teams seem to be down is they're more so calling like, one shot here, or got away, bottom pink, rather than being like, I'm pushing you towards pink too.
Right.
I got your help on this side. That's the difference you notice in communication from teams that are usually ahead and teams that are losing.
Yeah, they kind of get desperate, right? They desperately want to get back on the board, and they think that finishing those kills is the way to do it. But like you said, you still need to be coordinated with your team and make those pushes on the enemy players.
Yeah, it just seems like more so when things are going your way, yeah, you can call out where weak people are and get those finishes. That's not the problem. It's the times when things are going against you that you have to figure out, all right, where are we going to go? Where do I have help? And who can I help on my squad?
Yeah, and I think that actually that communication style often leads to players putting themselves in kind of overextended positions where they desperately try to finish those kills to get back on the board, and then you actually start to lose even more control. So that can be a vicious cycle.
Especially when you hear the panic in voices like, they have camo pink one, I have them lit up, and sometimes it'll cause a player, like you said, to overextend.
Yeah, because they want to try to get that kill, but you know, if the timing isn't right and you force it, you can often find yourself at even more of a deficit. And as we're talking, Ace and Team Liquid now still up by 11, now 12, 41-29.
I don't know what Epsilon can do at this point. They need to bounce back in this game 3. I mean, if we see them come back in here, it'd be a pretty miraculous comeback. Yeah. But at this point, it just seems like Liquid must just have a perfect counter to Epsilon's strategy, or finally have stepped it up. I don't fully know.
Yeah, I love what I'm seeing here. Look at, you have Ace up here in pink 2 still, right? But he also has a player in the base that he can lay down shots. So it looks like all their kills they're doing really well finishing those kills. Now over to Heinz.
Yeah, every single time one of the members has done damage, you notice just that little arrow on the bottom left that says, guess what? You got an assist on that kill. And somehow Heinz finishing off 57 before he's taken down.
That was a great trade. Now over back to Ace here. Team captain of this squad going to try to do something here to Jimbo. They only have 3 kills left, Dave, 47-32.
Yeah, at this point, we used to call it back in the Final Boss days, charge because you can't lose. And that's exactly what Liquid's doing.
Yep.
Beforehand, you saw them being very careful, holding the side bases, staying back at pink, but they said, guess what, guys? We can charge, lose 10 deaths, and it still doesn't matter. We're still going to win this game.
That is it. Team Liquid there, of course, not erupting into any sort of celebration, as they do expect that they'll be able to take this series. They're now up 2-0. Now, keep in mind, this weekend so far, we've seen Epsilon beat Renegades 3-1. Renegades also beat Team Liquid, their current opponents, 3-0. So we're seeing a very different story here with this Team Liquid. You have to ask, is it play style? Is it a different day? Is it a different team? We're not exactly sure, but the one thing we do know is that Team Liquid is 1 game away from closing out the series.
Yeah, I just feel like it's too late for Liquid. Seems like they're starting to play better. But at the same time, you notice in their post-game celebration, it's not really much of a celebration. They realize we don't have much to be that excited about. We are still going home today.
That's right, and they know they probably feel that they should close out the series. On the other hand, though, there's a lot more to play for on the Epsilon side. Once again, they need to win this for a chance to get out of the group stage and continue on in this tournament. So lots to play for there. Still 3 games left in the series. As we take a look at those game types in a moment, there's a chance that they might be able to come back.
Yeah, the difference in the series right now is that no matter how this turns out for Liquid, even though Liquid's up 2-0, you know, they took game 1, 3-2 on Coliseum, capture the flag. They won 50-33, an absolute statement on Truth Slayer.
Yep.
Tiberius Audley was not kidding when he said that Liquid is a dominant team on Truth Slayer. Going into game 3, Plaza Strongholds could go either way, but at the end of the day, I just want to say that Liquid, no matter how the series turns out, this event is going to be kind of a disappointment for them.
Yeah,
you know
that's
that
right.
they were hoping to get into the single and bracket. However, on the Epsilon squad, whether they win this match or not, they made a statement. They took Renegades. They put up a huge fight against Allegiance. They're getting, you know, they put up a couple close games here against Liquid, or at least the first game was close. But end of the day is Epsilon had a great showing for Europe.
Yeah, I also have to say, I mean, we saw Epsilon play some really good. Oh, look at this poll. I got to call it out.
People just want to see this European squad make it out to bracket play because, as we said before, it's not guaranteed. But if Epsilon wins this series, there is a chance, if depending on how the rest of the pool plays out, that they could make it out of the pool. However, if they lose this, guaranteed both Epsilon and Liquid will not make it out of pool play.
That's right. So that's the question. Can Team Epsilon bounce back, take these next 3 matches? Strongholds Plaza is going to be the first one. I have to say, I did like the Strongholds gameplay I've seen out of Epsilon so far, so we'll have to see if they can continue.
What's going on in this situation? It's those movie situations where you have someone hanging on the cliff, they're hanging on like their best friend, like, don't let go. Liquid's like, don't worry, I'm not letting go. I'm holding on and taking you down with me out of this pool.
It's true, and that is exactly what we're seeing here, and that's exactly what they want to do in game number 3. Once again, Strongholds Plaza. So I personally haven't seen none of this game type played just yet, or casted it, excuse me, in this series. But looking forward to seeing it kick off here in this next round. And players are loading in right now, so let's get ready to talk about Plaza. Of course, Overshield, let's see, in Strongholds we have that railgun, right?
Yeah, railgun top center. The power positions on this are obviously going to be controlling the center of the map, which is going to include the bomb center stronghold and the nest stronghold. The reason that those two are the most powerful is because they're in close proximity to each other. You could be in a position to watch both of those, whereas you cannot really say the same for both. There's maybe one position where you can watch bomb center and yard, but that's only one person can watch that from that sneaky ledge. Ace grabbing the first camo at 1150. Next one will be up at the 950 mark.
That's right. So let's see where the sniper falls as well. Looks like Nest will go to Epsilon quickly, as Epsilon will get that early Nest grab, surprising though. But Ace has camo, which is I think what you want here in this situation.
Yes, and what a sneaky play. He gets the first couple BR shots, or I should say AR shots, on Buck 57, able to clean that up and being so sneaky.
And I have to say, it looks like total control, as we saw Snipe Drone actually go for bottom middle as well. So surprising, a little bit of a slow start, but I think Team Liquid just wants to slow down and get their bearings.
Here are those confusing moments that I'm talking about. We're watching this from Ace's POV. Seems like, wow, Ace got a kill, Ace got camo, Ace got a double kill.
Right.
And Epsilon has a triple cap.
Right, exactly, and you have to wonder, like, they were just, I think also it speaks to how their experience on this game type, because they played that opening a little slow. They said, we'll give up these first 20 points, and do that. Maybe that wasn't the exact plan, but they kind of modified their strategy to do that. Ace kind of held the camo for as long as he could, and will they be able to capture yard? Let's see if Buck 20 can get the stop. No! Hines and Team Liquid will grab yard.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, is this the most important stronghold to get? I mean, I feel like Hines is wasting time out here where he could be helping bomb center or over at Nest, because right now, if Epsilon somehow keeps control of the center of this map, I believe that's due to Hines not being in the correct location.
Yeah, let's see if he can get them on this pinch play. For a second, I thought he was going to get the jump, but no. Buck 57 will actually get that win there. So I have to say, Epsilon off to a pretty good start here. This is a considerable lead, right? 20 points, but they want to keep it up.
And look at this focus from the Epsilon squad. Buck 57, normally I think a player would just have jumped in bomb center and realized, all right, I got 2 teammates near Nest, they got that. Instead, he goes and helps clears out that member near camo. Because remember, camo's going to come up at the 950 mark. And once again, Epsilon with a triple cap. They are not going down without a fight.
And look at this, yeah, I mean, complete control as well. Looks like they're going to be getting camo in just a bit. He will fall, but we'll go ahead and go to Jimbo, who has the railgun as well. No, he will die too, so it could be a swing of control here. Now over to Snipe Drone, who's trying to make something happen. He's going to grab this camo.
Like 50, yeah, this camo is absolutely necessary for Snipe Drone and the Epsilon squad, because it seems like Buck 57, and I believe it was Jimbo, got a little too aggressive and gave up some easy kills. And sloppy shot from Snipe Drone. Ace brings the SMG. I don't even know what to say
gracious,
there.
Gets
reversal
turned on
for
there,
sure.
and he had, I mean, that is a code. That is quite a play there. Halo 5 Gold Red Pack on your screen. Go ahead and redeem that on Xbox.com or your Xbox One console. But I tell you what a play there. That looked like a easy play right. He had camo down there. He almost didn't even need to engage.
Yeah, I mean, you know the old saying, brought a knife to a gunfight. Instead, Ace brought an SMG to a pistol fight.
It's true. That's exactly what happened. Now, as we look at Team Liquid, they're only down 31-40. They also have control of 2 of the 3 strongholds, earning them points on the board. And right away, Liquid is back in it. You have to wonder, a play like that, right? You know, that is it's a statement, right? When you turn on someone like that.
Those are game changers.
Yep.
You hear it from your teammates. You hear even the distraught in your teammates' voice when they get destroyed in a situation like that, because it's like, wow, I just lost camo, lost that fight, and
a position, right?
Yeah,
a valuable position when you're looking at those 2 strongholds. So that was unfortunate for them. But this is also the resilience. This reminds me of the resiliency that we saw from Team Allegiance, Dave. They're down in game number 3 when they're up 2-0, and they want to close out the series 3-0.
Look at that maneuver by Hines. He originally was going to go for a ground pound by Prius. Instead, realizes, guess what? I'm going to keep my position up top and lay some fire down on yard. If necessary, he might go with the triple cap, but Hines' priority is bottom siren / nest first.
That's perfect positioning. He's able to put, oh my gosh, perfect shots to pick up the double kill. Goes for even more, but Hines, I like what you're saying there, Dave. I think he's in the perfect position to make plays there and doesn't necessarily need to go for that triple.
Here we have 3 members of Epsilon diving to bomb siren, trying to stop this bleeding because they did eventually capture yard. Actually, they have nest somehow. I don't know how that happened. We saw some great plays by Hines, especially that double kill, but in the end, I assume maybe they pushed a little too far because we saw Liquid get that triple cap, and I assume they got spawns at bottom of nest or over by the BR.
Right, that must have been the case here. Look at the scoreboard already. They're up 56-47. They've turned this around. Hines will fall. Looks like Ace will fall as well. APG and Unlegit, the only 2 alive for Team Liquid, but they're still getting points on the board. Perfect shots around that ledge.
Yeah, and APG doing as much damage as he can before being taken down, but it looks like this is going to start to go in favor of Epsilon as they cap this bomb mid, and they still have control of Nest.
Well, but they do. It looks like Liquid does have 2 players down here. They might be able to make something happen.
Yeah, Snipe Drone at least take down Hines before getting taken out. So now it's going to be kind of a 2-on-2 situation fighting bomb center.
Right, they want to clear this base out, right? They want to clear all this bottom mid out. They want to get over to Nest here, and actually they're going to have total control, contesting for total control once again. No way! Somehow Ace stays alive there, dodging and tiptoeing around those. And look at Ace. I love this. He's moving so fast, just challenging everyone and everything. And I don't think he picked up that last kill. Finally, it will get cleaned up. But my, oh my, Ace is, I mean, he's playing so aggressive. I love that. He's not satisfied with 1 kill. He continues to look for his opponents.
He has no fear. And that's what's the most confusing part for me as far as when I'm watching this Liquid roster play. Because there's been times where we've watched Ace's POV or we've watched Hines' POV and they get like 2 or 3 kills and they're playing absolutely incredible. But when you look at the Stronghold count, they somehow are down in Strongholds, and that just doesn't make sense to me. It just seems like either these players, Liquid, aren't taking advantage of the time that Ace and his teammates are buying.
That's right. Now over to Snipe Drone on the other side. He's trying to make something happen here over at the stairs. We'll be trying to get back over to Nest. Of course, Team Liquid still with points on the board. They do have control of those 2 strongholds, but they're trying to put one last effort here, Dave. It's getting close for Team Epsilon. Liquid here potentially will 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, Epsilon started out strong, but just given how this game has been going so far, I don't know if they can come back. Especially, I feel like that turning point was that turnaround where Ace pulled out on Snipe Drone. Just that SMG on the camo pistol.
And it was definitely an SMG. I wasn't sure if it was an AR or...
It was SMG.
It was an SMG. Okay, I mean, yeah, big turn there. Snipe Drone gets caught off guard, and I think, like you said, that was a key turning point, and if not only in the game, right, in terms of just momentum and morale for a player like that, as he's now throwing down these railgun shots with camo. But just as we say that, total control here for Epsilon.
I don't understand that. Yeah, we just see, it just seems baffling to me where we see APG, you know, I guess there was a misexecution there as far as that railgun shot, but at the end of the day, that still means somehow they were able to lose 2 different strongholds besides the one that APG misexecuted on.
That's right. Now over to 57. They're still putting points on the board, so it's not over yet. It would require perfect coordination from Epsilon, but it looks like they will pick up that kill as well, so they just need to go for this Nest and bottom middle hold.
Yeah, Strongholds is one of those game types where you could have the opposing team have 99 points, but game is still not over. It's not like a Team Slayer game where someone has...
Bottom mid might be going, and it might be too late.
There had to be at least 2 down there. So not only do they lose Bomb Siren, but Buck 57 fatuously gives up his life because he was in panic. He realized we have to keep bomb center.
That's right. Jimbo tries to go for the ground pound on Hines, or on APG, but it doesn't work. Now we're over to Hines, and they're putting points on the board. I believe unless one's contested, that will be it as they go to 98, unless they're able to get one last point. No, that is going to be it. Team Liquid will close out their series right here, 3-0 over Epsilon. Of course, that will be their last match of group play, I believe. They will be going home, and they will not be advancing. However, they do put a win on the board. Keep in mind, this exact roster is the team that will be playing at North American Regionals here. Taking a look at the stats, Dave.
Ace going positive 10, APG +4, and I believe we saw Hines with at least 14 assists. So great stats across the board for the Liquid squad, and both these squads unfortunately going home. I mean, Liquid saved some face. They had a great showing there against Epsilon. Can't be said the same for the other matches, though. Yeah. I felt like Liquid was a different roster in this Epsilon match.
That's
or
right.
You could argue that Renegades just brought the intensity when they got to play them.
Yeah, and it tells us some interesting things about the playstyle dynamics that you and I were alluding to earlier, right? We saw the Epsilon team defeat Renegades, who beat Team Liquid. However, Team Liquid ends up 3-0.
Just that circular.
It is truly
victories,
truly a cycle of 3-0s and 3-1s that told the story of this group. And if you're a little bit confused at home, don't worry. That we are a bit too. Exactly how that panned out. And I think once we saw Epsilon beat Renegades, everyone was kind of like, predictions are
like
out
what
the
is going
window.
on?
Yeah, we're not exactly sure, but ultimately what we need to know there is that Team Liquid wins their final series 3-0. However, both teams will be going home. I have to say Epsilon made a statement against Renegades, but if I'm looking at the Halo history books, that won't be remembered as pivotal as a victory as it could have been had they won here against Liquid.
It's been crazy how important each one of these pool play matches have been. The fact that Epsilon took down Renegades and potentially would have disallowed Renegades from going on to the single elimination bracket. Now, this Renegades versus Allegiance match is a big deal because obviously people have been highlighting, Allegiance is 2-0, they're moving on pool play. Sure, but a lot of people forget the fact that if Renegades beat Allegiance, Renegades will walk away with the #1 seed out of this pool.
Right, which of course
and
is
that
huge.
means Allegiance will play CLG first round, assuming CLG closes out 3-0.
Right, and coming out of group play, we go into a
nuts.
single elimination bracket, right? So every match is going to be so important there. I believe those single elimination are best of 7 series, so we'll have a little bit more matches there. But I mean, I tell you what, I can't wait to see exactly how these groups will line up. Just to recap the matches that we have yet to come, we've got EG facing up against Penta, we've got Allegiance versus Renegades, and also still to come CLG versus Dream Team. Now with that said, of course, we're going to go ahead to Benson, who's on the floor. Go ahead, Ben.
With, of course, APG. Congratulations on picking up that first win in your group, but unfortunately a little bit too late to progress through from the groups. But what could you maybe have done a little bit better thinking back now?
This event, I think we definitely could have worked on our communication, our teamwork, and timing power weapons. We did a horrible job at that, but later in the series, we started doing well.
So looking at regionals, for example, what is going to be your preparation heading in towards that?
Pretty much we're just going to try and practice as much as possible, try and throw in a LAN or 2 in there, because we have a lot of time, so hopefully that'll help us improve.
In terms of the rest of the tournament now, is there any sort of predictions that you think you could give as who you think is going to be in that gold medal matchup?
I definitely think CLG will 100% be in the gold medal matchup. EG will be right there, I think, as well. I don't know how Allegiance will do stacking up against the top teams on LAN, but they're definitely a good team. We just played them and they beat us, but it's going to be interesting.
Have you been kind of surprised by Allegiance coming out? Obviously, they had made a big amount of noise online, played so very well. Then there was some big question marks coming into this first event. Are they going to be able to perform as well? What have you thought about them?
At first, I did think they were an online team, but they're showing up here, and I just hope they show up at regionals as well. Definitely a team capable of winning.
Well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of X Games, I guess. For myself and APG, that's going to do it. Quick commercial break.